Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Marjorie and I thank you for tuning in. Christmas is right around the corner and today I have two projects that I'm going to show you, including Jack Skellington. So I start off with this Christmas deco mesh from Hobby Lobby. Got them 50% off. And is this not beautiful with the white and silver trim? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and cut out 40-inch lengths of the deco mesh. So since my wreath is 24 inches long, I just do the 24 and mark off the measurements and hold it up to, then I move it over and put it on the 16, and then I cut my mesh. And that gives me 40 inches. So for the video purposes, I'll cut a couple of strips right now and show you again how I do it. So I found my placement, moved it to the 16, and cut with my Dollar Tree rotary. Y'all, I love this thing. I will never go back to buying the rotary cutters from Walmart or Hobby Lobby or anything like that. They may be small, but they work so good. And really, they're only $1.25. And I've been using the same rotary cutter for quite some time now, and the blade has really lasted a long time. So here I'm doing the cruffle method, and I just roll up one side about 4 times, put a little clothespin on it, turn it around, roll another 4 times, and then walk my fingers up the middle. Now this is a work wreath that I got from Hobby Lobby from the fall, and it was 50% off, so not too bad of a price. And I believe there was 17 tinsel ties on there, so we'll only need to do 17, cut 17 of these. And I just make sure that I place this mesh in there in the middle. So when I'm holding the mesh in my hand, I'm trying to hold it as close to the middle as I can in the middle, so I can place it into the tinsel stems that way. And here I am just showing you how to do it one more time. Rolled it up 4 times, and now I'm walking my fingers to the middle, to the other side, and I'm going to keep that gathered right there in the middle. And this is why it's called a cruffle, is because it has curls and it has ruffles. It's a combination. And so I'm just going to add these around the entire wreath frame, and it's going to end up looking really nice. So this is how it is with just half of it filled up. I'll be honest, I should have looked. I don't remember how big the wreath frame is, but it's the standard ones that you'll see in the Christmas or fall sections, and you can get them for 50% off, and so they'll have them there. And then once I have all the mesh on, this is what it looks like, and it is pretty full and very pretty. So here I am, sorry, just cleaning up my workstation, getting all those little bits and pieces off with my little vacuum cleaner. And so I have this Christmas mesh from Hobby Lobby, got it 50% off, and I got this cute ribbon from Craft Outlet. This only $4.50 is what it cost me, and they both have 10 yards or 30 feet of ribbon on there. Now this is really pretty, and here's what I'm doing, is just testing it to see if the glitter is coming off, and surprisingly enough, it is not. Now I actually bought this with the thoughts of using it for Valentine's, because let me tell you, you can get really cute ribbon at Hobby Lobby and all that stuff, and make sure that you can use them for all seasons. It don't just have to be for Christmas. But When I got the centerpiece for this wreath, I didn't buy any extra stuff. These were just ribbons and deco mesh that I had, and so surprisingly it all came together. But as much as I love the color on this red and black, the only thing I do not like is the fact that it is a satin ribbon. And to me, I don't really like satin ribbon as much on wreaths because I don't feel like it holds its shape as well as like this small one. The small one is a thicker cloth and it holds its shape very well. But for the most part, this turned out really well. And so I'm cutting the tails at 14 inches, and I'm showing you that I'm just dovetailing the 2.5 inch ones, and then the 1.5 inch I'm just cutting them at an angle. So now I've cut all my ribbon, and I'm going to place the white one on the white and black on top of the red and black, fold it over to find the middle, pinch it in the middle, and then I'm just using my fingers to kind of curve the tails, and then I fold it in half. And I put that middle piece right on top of the well, they're not pipe cleaners because I normally make my own wreath frames, but tinsel ties. Sorry about that. So I tie it in there, and then I just fluff out my ribbon. And here I'm going to do the same thing again. Lay it on top of each other. Fold it in the middle, pinch it together, then I'm going to curl it with my fingers just between my thumb and forefinger, bend it half right in the middle section, and attach it right on top of the tinsel tie. You can undo the tinsel tie if you want to. Doesn't do anything for me, so I like to just leave it and put it right on top instead of undoing anything. And then here I am just fluffing out, making sure that all my ribbon is able to be seen. Now here's just some strands from the deco mesh that are coming out, and I just pull those out of there. So here is the centerpiece. It's called a tree hugger, which I don't know. But I got it from Walmart, and it was $13. And the arms have some wire in it, so you can actually kind of maneuver the arms any way you want to. But for the sake of this video, I'm actually going to be keeping the arms out, and I will just put them down a little bit. So I'm taking some of this paddle wire, and I cut off a pretty good length, folding it in half. And then I kind of just twist it a little bit off frame. Sorry for that. But I just twist it a little bit to give a little bit more strength. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to attach Mr. Jack onto the wreath frame. So I do struggle just a little bit trying to get that wire in there, but it's okay because I end up just kind of piercing little holes in there on both sides, and I get that fed through. But you want to make sure that you kind of have a decent size place of where the cloth is. That way it's not just, that way you have a little more for the wire to hold on to. Here I'm just trying to find different ways of cutting that hole in there. And if I remember correctly, the cutters actually worked better than the scissors. But I think I actually had to take the scissors and open it a little bit more. I knew where I wanted to attach it, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to make the hole. So this is just me not really thinking everything out. I'm one of those craft as I go and see how it goes from there. So I finally got my wire pulled through, and I'm just giving it a couple of twists to tighten it on there. Now the good thing about his hat, it's not completely attached onto his head. It's kind of stitched in the middle. So I was able to pretty much do the same thing. Cut off a longer piece of wire, fold it in half, and then just loop it right through the hat, because there's an opening in it, and that made it 100 times easier, y'all. Sorry if you hear any noise. That's my dog walking around, and she's just being a little noisy girl today. So then I just pull it again and give it some good twists on there. I do like to leave my wires and stuff longer because I don't know how much of it I'll need. And then here I'm just kind of looking at the back just to see where I need to leave room to hang the wreath on. And I'm making some space, and I find a little crossbar at the bottom, so that's where I'm going to attach Jack. At the bottom portion of the wreath is on that crossbar. So now that I have his body attached, I'm just going to do the same method with the top of it, and just find a space on the wreath form and tighten him down. Now when tightening down your centerpiece, always make sure that you don't do it too tight, or don't pull it in too tight, because then that could cause your centerpiece to pull into the wreath and it won't look as good. But here you see I kind of just trimmed it off, and I'm wrapping the wire around the wreath frame and making sure everything is nice, tight, and cleaned up in the back. Sorry guys, if you hear my cat, she's in heat. Yes, she does sound like she's a dying cat, but no, she's okay. She's just in heat. So I thought his hands looked a little bare, and so what I've decided to do is I'm going to create a little present. And before I do that, I actually attach some of these Christmas ornaments onto the wreath, just where the tinsel ties are. Because I got this in fall, the tinsel ties are a dark brown, so I just kind of wanted to cover that up a little bit. And so I'm just gonna use these red and black Christmas ornaments, and I don't have as many black. Just using what I had on hand. So I had one package of these red and black, which was a 6-pack, 3 of each color. And then I had a couple of packs of some multicolored, like red, green, silver, and I took the reds out of those and just put them all around the wreath, just to give it a little more texture and make it look even that much more cute. You could do this part, you could skip this part. Instead of the Christmas ornaments, you could use deco mesh tubing, and you could kind of just like decorate with that. There's just such a plethora of things that you could do. You could add any type of pics that you wanted, just to make it a little bit more fun and festive. But again, everything aside from this, besides Jack, I already had on hand, and so everything just kind of worked out in my favor. And I really do love how this ends up, and you'll see it in just a little bit. But I did use a good amount of hot glue to ensure that the ornaments stay on there very well. And here's where I make the present. I have these little name tags. I got these a couple years ago. I want to say it was 90% off one year. And they're just little place card name tags. So you actually get twice as many than what it says on there if you break them in half like I did. And I kind of just wanted to make this as a little sign. And all I do is just write on there Merry Christmas. Then I had some of these post office box. These were empty and I had some of these laying around. So I just put one together and I just take some wrapping paper and wrap it all up. Now I always try to find the best method using least amount of wrapping paper. So that's why you see me measure out the first way, but then I'm like, oh, I'll just cut it and have the box turn this way because obviously it uses less wrapping paper. So I do plan on using this wrapping paper for some other Christmas gifts this year. So just trying to be a little frugal. I used to love wrapping gifts. I know when we were younger, living at home with our parents, my sisters and I wrapped a lot of Christmas gifts, and I don't know, I just have always kind of liked it, and I like to make everything look so nice, neat, and clean cuts. But I tell you, nowadays there's so many videos on how to wrap gifts. Like, they've become so creative and unique with it. But I'm still just a simple person and like wrapping gifts the way I used to before. And pardon the hair, yes, my head makes a debut in every video. Even though I try to be more cautious about it, it does. It makes a debut every video. Just to tell you guys hello. So, and this is the tape that I got. I got this from Walmart a while back. But it's kind of got like the cloudiness to it. It's not transparent. But I like the clear, transparent kind better. But this is all I had. And I made sure to put the tape where you couldn't see it. I just hide the tape. So the idea here is that Jack is going to be holding this present, and because his arm sticks out, I wanted to give the illusion as though he was presenting this present for somebody when they're coming to the door. I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comments below how you feel about it and what your thoughts are. So I just take I had some double-sided tape, but I was too lazy to go find it. And I ended up just using some of the same Scotch tape and folded it over. Worked just fine. I don't know about y'all, but my crafting supplies have taken over my house. And I really need to get organized, y'all. So here is the after. And I think he looks really super cute. Again, y'all let me know your thoughts and comments on him. So for my final project, I had these wood rounds from the Hobby Lobby. It came in a pack of, I think, 6, and it was $4.99 in the wood pile section. Anyways, I take one and I paint it white, and here, this other one, I have the pool color, Waverly paint in color and pool, and I paint the other one. So then I had some of this burnt orange kind of yarn in my yarn stash, and it worked out perfectly because what I'm doing is, you can kind of see here, I am going to draw Jack and Sally's face. So there's my husband just giving me a little bit of love while I'm crafting. So I'm freehanding this, and the freehanding portion turned out okay, but you'll see when I tried to outline it in black, in the black paint, and I think my brush wasn't small enough. It wasn't as detailed, as small and of a, oh my goodness, tongue-tied. But you'll see, like, it just looks so bad. Like the thickness of the lines just made it look really horrible. And there's my mother's hand. I mean, it may not look too bad on the video, but y'all, it looks so much worse in person. And here I am looking at it thinking, this is a hot mess. So I go ahead and I drew out Jack. And this time I got smart. And I said, forget the paint, let's use some Sharpie markers. So I went and got my big Sharpie markers and, you know, went over my pencil lines with it. And that's what I end up doing with Sally's face as well. The good thing about drawing their faces is that they're not perfect, right? And they look kind of crazy. So if I made a crazy line here, a crazy line there, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to, you know, because they've just got those awkward faces. So I do like how it turned out a lot better with the Sharpie than it did when I was using the paintbrush. So I have a little red paint marker that I got from Walmart, and it's in red, and I'm just using it to do her lips. I think it turned out really cute. Now, the only thing I didn't get on here was her nose. So, other than that, I think everything else turned out okay. As you see, I do go in and paint the insides of her eyes white. Tried to get it as perfect as I could, but again, I was actually using a bigger brush. Yeah, when I was doing these yesterday, it was taking some time to make them, and I made both of them back to back, and my back was killing me. So when I tell you I did not want to look for other craft supplies, I had already went and looked at for some, but when I realized I still needed this or that, I just said screw it. So now that I have Sally's face on, I'm taking some of those, well, I'm going to actually put her hair on. So I tied it in the middle, and that's what I'm going to glue down first. And I'm just actually I'm trying to straighten out the hair as much as possible. And then I'm going to take an extra piece of yarn and kind of tie them off, because I am going to glue it down and cut them. So this made it a little bit easier to do. Now this part I really struggled with because I didn't want to glue every strand on one by one. I didn't. And as you can see here, I was struggling with trying to get the hair all nice and laid down and looking pretty. But it took a little finagling, and I finally did, and it ended up being okay, not too bad. So quite a bit of it ended up being hidden when I put it on the wreath, because she ends up being at the bottom, and I put a bow in the middle of the wreath, and so some of those tails from the bows kind of covering up a little bit of the hair. So I've got this work rail from Craft Outlet, and I've got this 21-inch black deco mesh that I'd already used for something else, and I'm just going to use it here. So what I like to do is gather it up, and in the beginning you see it's pretty long, but I'm just going to go ahead and attach it, and then I'm going to measure off 6 inches, and I'm going to cut it at the 6 inches. Whenever I'm doing swags like this using this work rail, I don't know why, but I prefer to have 6-inch tails at the end. So then I'm going to go from the tinsel tie that it's in, measure out 10 inches, and put it into the next tinsel tie. Now I do these 10-inch loops going on all of them on both sides. Now this work rail has 11 tinsel ties on it, so it's got like one less than I think I normally put on there when I make them. I like to buy these bare as well without the tinsel ties and make them, because it's significantly cheaper. I mean, it's a $3 difference, so I just normally go and add on my own pipe cleaners. Now you see here, because the tinsel tie I just put that deco mesh in is a little offset from the other one, I knew I was going to need just a little bit more than 6 inches, so I lined it up with the other side and said, okay, that's how long my tail needs to be. And then again, I'm just doing the 10-inch poofs all up and down this side of the work rail. So, and then again here, I just added my last loop in, and I'm measuring this side to match the other side in length, because yes, it is longer than 6 inches, but I just want them to be at the same length, and you won't be able to tell that once all the deco mesh is on. So I'm using some deco mesh that I had already used for a previous project, and so on this one I knew there was 11 tinsel ties, and so basically I took actually I think there was like 240 inches left on this roll, so I divided that by 11, and it gave me the total length of each of the 10-inch deco mesh that I needed to cut. Now here on this one, I'm actually going to just do the ruffle method, and I like to curl it under about 1 inch and then start walking my fingers up the middle of the deco mesh, and then I do tend to leave about 1 inch on the other side that's folded under. So as you see, I'm just showing you how both sides are folded under, and that kind of helps hide any possible fraying that you may have. So here I'm just going to show you one more time how I do it. And I don't know about y'all, but I really like a good red, black, and white combination. And that's what it looks like with a couple of those on. So I'm going to go finish. And I went ahead and cut my ribbon. So as you see, the first set is the same ribbon from the wreath before, and I just wanted to use all that up. And the other set of ribbon is some Faux Mackenzie Childs ribbon from Craft Outlet, and this little kind of plaid ribbon also from Craft Outlet. And here I'm just taking my ribbon tails and attaching them just as I did with the wreath before. Now, again, these tinsel ties are a beige color, and I just kind of tucked those in to hide them. I didn't have any other work rails, and I didn't want to do this swag using the paint stir sticks or anything, because I knew what I was putting on here, and I just thought it would be nicer if it was on here on a work rail, because it tends to get a little bit wider. And I'm just going to alternate each of the tinsel ties with the different sets of ribbon. So once I've done that, I'm going to actually make our bow, and I'm going to start off with 8-inch tails, and then the first two loops, the first two sets of loops are going to be 6 inches, and then as I add in the other sets of ribbon, I'll go down 1/2 inch to each one, but I'll be keeping the tails at 8 inches. I like to keep the tails a little bit longer, that way I can cut some extra off if I need to when I'm actually dovetailing and trimming down the tails. But because if I make it too short, it'll be more difficult to add in, and may not end up looking right. So I like to always add a little bit extra if I can, and that way I have plenty of room to play around with. So I'll alternate the different ribbons. I'll do 2 sets of the red plaid and the Faux Mackenzie Child, and then I'll just do 1 set of this red and black satin with the red and white striped ribbon. So once I have the ribbon all set up, I'm just pulling it up with my 2 fingers on the bottom and my thumb on the top, and I add my pipe cleaner, making sure I hold all the ribbon firmly between my fingers and that I actually am kind of pinching them in while I am adding this pipe cleaner on there and just twisting it. It helps the bow keep its shape. And it secures all your ribbons are going to be in place as well. So I just take the middle and I find a crossbar, and that's what I'm going to attach my bow to. And again, make sure that you're not pulling your bow in too tight, because your bow will look all smushed and it won't look right on your wreath. You can always do it a little loose, and if it looks like it needs to be tightened up, well, you can always tighten it up later. I know that's what I end up having to do most of the time, which I don't mind. I mean, either way, it's easy to fix. And here I'm just going in and I'm dovetailing all the 2.5 inch ribbon, and then the 1.5 inch ribbon, you could dovetail that if you want to, but for some reason I like to have a little variety, and so I like to just cut my 1.5 inch ribbon at an angle. But again, do whatever you like with your wreath and make it your own. You know, I always get people telling me that they were scared to work with deco mesh, and let me tell you, to me it's hard to mess up a wreath made from deco mesh. I've seen some videos where maybe it didn't look like there was a lot of mesh, because I like everything full and fluffy and, you know, big and bold. And I've seen some wreaths that were just, they were not to my liking, or not to what I would try, because I would think it would be lacking. But by the time you put your ribbon in and all your embellishments, I mean, there really has not been many, if at all, any deco mesh wreaths that I haven't liked. They do turn out pretty well if you ask me. But just take your time and try it out. I mean, before I made wreaths, I watched videos and I learned and I learned and I learned, and I learned a lot using cheap material at first, just because I didn't want to waste a lot of good quality product and, you know, it just kind of be a waste. So definitely, you know, take the time, challenge yourself. Even if you don't like it at first, keep trying, because you'll be able to master it. And with this, so the tails, I am using my thumb and my forefinger and just curling the tails, because that gives it a fuller look. So here's old Sally girl. The way I attached the pipe cleaner on here, I don't know what I was thinking. So I do decide to go back in and kind of do it like I normally do. I was thinking that it was going to be a little further away, but that's more for my round wreaths. And so I thought, well, maybe I would need more of a pipe cleaner to attach to the ring, and I didn't. I don't know. It was late. I was trying to hurry up and get this stuff done. And anyways, I fixed it, and here she is, looking pretty cute, if I do say so myself. The only thing about her that I don't really like is the nose. I didn't really do the nose because her nose is more of a shadowing, and I didn't want to have to go and play with colors of paint, and it wasn't something that you could draw in. I mean, you would literally need to shadow in the paint. And so I was liking how this was looking, and I was like, yep, this is going on my front door. So I told myself, well, since I'm using it for me in my house, I'm just gonna leave it alone. And she's beautiful as is, in my opinion. Y'all tell me what you think about her. And this goes to show you that you can make your own signs, your own centerpieces for wreaths. You don't necessarily have to buy them. You could use all kinds of things. You could use your Cricut and help make signs. You can use all the Dollar Tree wood pieces and signs that you could use, paint, color, whatever, and you could make it for your centerpiece on your wreath. Now what I didn't show is I added some ornaments in just to tie in some of the blue, and I absolutely love this. Well, I want to thank you guys again for stopping by. I appreciate you all. You have a very blessed week.
Here on get used to know that you can get something that's in work. So I would go here on there. Spirits like